Andy?
Yep.
It's 6:30. We call Sawyer County Public Works meeting to order. Ask the administration to call the roll, please.
Ron Kinsley,
Here.
Mark Helwig. Yep. Randy Newman is excused. Chuck Van Etten. Here.
The record indicate we have a quorum. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Number 4 is certification compliance to open meeting laws. Everything has been done with that. Number 5 is the agenda. The agenda is set. Number 5, public comments. Ms. Linda Zomer, please.
Linda Zilmer, Edgewater property owner, resident of the Village of Birchwood. I drive quite a bit of miles on 4 different county highways, and you can always tell when you pass from one county into the other.
Great.
I'm not saying anything, but it could be the conditions of the road, it could be the line painting, it could be the maintenance of the ditches. I mean, you do make difference. One thing I always look for is I look for best practices. And I hate to say it, but right now I think probably some of the most use of best practices is in Washburn County. And they have really helped people get more compliant with structures in the right of way on county and state highways. They have some directions out there on their website, as well as ideas for having those swing arm mailboxes. So the thing that I've been noticing a lot more, and because once one thing sits there for a long time, then there gets to be more of them. People are building structures to protect their mailboxes. It could be 2 steel posts and a piece of plywood. And then one of the new ones I saw today actually looks like a wooden fence with pickets. And I would hope maybe the county could be more proactive in discouraging that. And two, sometimes when you come up on it at night, you just see something right there by the road and it takes you by surprise. The other thing is I understand that Mr. Pinau has found out that the county has had some brine tanks in storage for a while. The other thing I noticed, especially when you go down through Bear and Chippewa and Eau Claire counties, their use of brining on highways is a lot more efficient, and it really does the job on roads. So I don't know if Sawyer County is going to be able to adopt that today or not. But there's twofold. Number one, the cost and efficiency, and it does a good job. But I recently listened to somebody who is in the LCO Conservation Department, and he was talking about how the tribe samples 20-some lakes in the county and monitors them on a regular basis. But they can't sample anywhere near a bridge because there's so much salt that goes into the water that, so we're doing things to our prime natural resources that could help alleviate. So that those were along those lines. And then again, the connection between roads and waterways. I think Mr. Heim is going to speak to a road project that's coming up that might need some special exceptions to protect a lake. And I understand that there is going to be a meeting between the DNR and county personnel, and I'm wondering if that is something that could be available for Zoom. I think there are a lot of people interested in that issue and would like to hear the conversation between the DNR and the county. Thank you.
You have comment? Please state your name and address, please.
Mike Heim, 9151 North County Road E, Hayward. And I'm here to discuss the reconstruction of County Road E. So 2 years ago, I went on vacation down to North Carolina and took the Blue Ridge Parkway, beautiful parkway. Some of you might have been on there. It's a windy road through the woods, very popular, trees arching overhead. And every so often there's an opening where you have a mountain vista, just beautiful. Took it through North Carolina. Drove back here and drove on County Road E and Williams Road, and it reminded me of the Blue Ridge Parkway. Those roads look just like that. A beautiful winding up and down, back and forth, fun to drive. They're really popular. The parkway is really popular with tourists down in North Carolina. And I thought, wow, we have this same treasure here, winding road through the woods. You get the vistas, not of mountains, but of lakes and wetlands, the open areas, just gorgeous. And I found out recently that that may be under threat from the reconstruction of Highway E, North County Road E, from Highway B down to Norwis Road. So the problem is there was a federal DOT grant that was obtained, and there are strings attached with that, with federal projects like that. And I can see why, it was applied for, because that money would pay for much of that road construction. The problem is, I feel very strongly that we need to maintain our scenic beauty and our environment up on top of the Kettle Moraine where E and Williams Road are. There's nothing else like it. We have one of two Kettle Moraines in Wisconsin. The other one's down in southeastern Wisconsin, and it's a real popular tourist area. And then we have our northwestern Wisconsin Kettle Moraine. And Highway E goes right down the top, right down the back of the snake, so to speak, north to south along the Kettle Moraine. When you drive from Hayward to the casino, for instance, you're crossing over the back of that Kettle Moraine. So the proposal says, for the reconstruction, says that there should be guardrails on Highway E along most of Spring Lake, along the shoreline, and that there has to be a large area of clearance. And basically, all of the trees and other vegetation would be cleared. The engineer proposed putting down landscape mats and riprap along that, pretty much that whole stretch of Spring Lake, which is a significant portion of the lake and would have pretty devastating consequences, not only for the scenery from the road. Lots of people drive on E just because of the beauty. Motorcyclists, motorists, ATVers, bicyclists, everybody likes to go down those roads. All those trees, all that vegetation would be gone. You'd have a pile of rock right down to the shoreline. And nothing else would be allowed to grow there, with the landscape map down. So what I'm proposing is to keep Highway E scenic, and John and I are on the same page with that, do safety, but try to minimize impacts, but particularly around Spring Lake to keep the shoreline vegetated. So for the scenic beauty, but also for the habitat, for all the wildlife, the trees will fall in the water, provide good fishing. Plus, fishermen can't get down to the water very easily if you've got a bunch of riprap. Nowadays there's all these fishermen paths, where they go down and fish. So that's another thing. So how could we maintain these values of our beautiful Northwoods? Well, one possibility is that the federal grant could be removed from the portion just on Spring Lake. I know it's several hundred feet along the lake, and then the county local control would kick in, and it could be left as is, just resurfaced and left as is, scenic and environmentally significant. The other possibility is getting, as in the past, getting exemptions to the standards. So making an exception, and that has been done before. So my last point, and I just ran this by John today when we talked on the phone, is to make the County Highway E from Highway B to Williams Road, and hopefully, if Bass Lake Township agrees, Williams Road also, a Kettle Moraine Scenic Drive. Since we do have something that's really special in the state of Wisconsin and would be it already is a tourist attraction, the beautiful scenic, fun road to drive right back and forth, up and down. Everybody loves driving on County Road E. Making it a scenic drive and including Williams Road if possible, and having signs or just putting interpretive points on Google Maps. So when people are driving along, they could have Google Maps up and it could, tell them what it is they're seeing, whether it's geological features or, natural biological features, plant communities, bogs, cranberries, whatever is along the road, right, that they would see, would interpret that for them. And I'd be willing to help with that. So that's my proposal. I would love to protect our beautiful scenic environment, which is really, really special. Like I said, there's no other place like the top of this Kettle Moraine until you go down near Milwaukee to the other Kettle Moraine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anybody online? Okay, thank you. Number 7, consider approval of the minutes of the previous meeting of October 9.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of October 9th.
Motion by Mr. Helwig, second by Mr. Van Etten to approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion? Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Number 8, Maintenance Department report. Mr. Hagberger has give us a report. Anybody have any questions regarding them? And Andy, anything you want to add?
Nope, I think kind of reiterate what's in there, that this is the time of year where we get ready for winter, so they're getting all the equipment in place, including out at the airport, going through all their protocols with the vendors as well. We are short-staffed right now. We lost Mick Bestland, so we are recruiting for that position, but at this point, we've had it's kind of a unique position as it's part-time, so we've initiated some conversations with people in the public that we think maybe Mick was retired and then came back to work, looking for the same type of individual, but at this point, we don't have any applications.
Thank you. Number 9, Sawyer County Airport. Mr. Leslie could not be with us tonight. He has something that came up, but he did give us a report. Anybody have any questions on his report?
Actually, just wanted to add in there that Colin Davidson, our new engineer from the State Bureau, was actually through town today. So Derek and I sat down with him, went through he's getting acquainted with us as an airport. He's got a couple other airports in this region, so it works out well for him. But we went through our capital projects list. Snow removal equipment is still at the top of our list for use of our funds. A lot of our prior entitlement dollars from the FAA are going into the runway project, the resurfacing project for next year. But we do have bill money, the bipartisan infrastructure law. So we're hoping to apply that to replacing our snow removal equipment. It still is over a 12-month lead time on those. But there's a number of other airports that are doing the same thing. So the Bureau is hoping to put together a bid for all the airports bringing in new snow removal equipment in the next year.
Yes,
When is Mr. Leslie's contract due? Or did we do that last?
we did that last month.
We renewed that last month. So
We extended it for 5 years.
Oh, okay. I apologize.
That's fine. That's
and one other thing, there was some emails after last month's meeting regarding the master plan, and based on the county board's decision to move ahead with the development alternative as proposed, what are the next steps? What are we doing? So it's going to be a little bit of time now. The consultants go back and use that development alternative to do, kind of a capital project plan and environmental. We don't expect to see anything back from them until summer of 25.
Along those lines, so when they do all their stuff and say next summer, they figure out, are they gonna come back to us and have another sit down?
I don't know if it's really, yeah, I think it will with this committee. It'll be a sit down, yeah.
Right, with the group that I'm on,
They'll probably present that to the advisory group.
yes.
There's not another plan for like a public hearing or a public forum, but they'll present their completed plan to the advisory group, this committee, and then to the full county board. And then when it's all done, the county board doesn't have to like approve or adopt it, but basically accept it, that that's the master plan that's in place.
Thank you. Number 10, Highway Commissioner, Mr. John Pino.
Good evening. So it's been a busy month. The crews finished up our paving projects on C and D, and then we also had the lines painted. We did come in under expected on our budget. We also did, along with that, down there on D, we did half-mile paving for the town of Meadowbrook, along with some patches on London Pasden Road. That all turned out very well. Crews did a great job. The maintenance has been working on our plow trucks, getting them all ready for winter. We got everything ready. A couple wings to put on yet in the county trucks. We had a little bit of snowstorm here last week, so nothing too major, sporadic throughout the county. We're gonna be doing some brushing at LCO development along with LCO to clear back some of those trees in that corner. And also we'll be installing some truck entering signs there with LCO. We also got the salt shed aprons fixed in Radisson and Hayward. They've been on our inspection for a long time. We get dinged with it every year, so we got that completed. The shingles on the state domes in Radisson and Hayward are complete, along with the winter shed. They're all complete. Still waiting on the garage door openers, waiting on state approval. We didn't have any money left over from the state on that, but if there's some left in RMA, we'll probably get those taken care of. County C Bridge update. So the bridge is done. They're painting, I believe, Friday, and the bridge will be open Friday on the 8th, so
So it's not open today?
no. Did you go across it?
No, I didn't. But people have been asking me and I've been telling them the sixth.
Yeah, they're painting and it'll be open on the 8th. We have a walkthrough on the 14th, I believe. We've been working with IT, Mike Olson, on setting up our online payment process. We've had 3 meetings on that now. Getting everything finalized is, just help streamline the process, issuing permits and people being able to pay with credit card and versus sending checks and coming in. And so it's been going pretty good so far. I just did a test one here tonight, sent it off to Tim and Teresa to review for approval. So we'll see how that works. Yesterday we had 5 employees from each shop go to the Winter Tech Talk in Rice Lake at Northern Technical College. I guess it went really well. Also, our safety day will be November 21st this year. Doing a little different than previous years because we have a hired safety consultant now. So you're more than welcome to show up if you want to. We're gonna have lunch at noon. Andy's gonna speak, hopefully.
What's the date on
November 21st. So yeah, if you want to meet some of the guys and have some lunch, we'll have lunch around noon. I got the state to buy these barn owl cameras that I've been talking about. So I got the state to purchase 5 of them, which we have. I got them here already. We'll be putting them up tomorrow, start putting them up tomorrow. We'll have them on 27 North, 48 in the Hills, 70 in AA, 70 over east of Draper, and then 77 by Clam Lake. This is just gonna help us monitor the roads throughout the county this winter. It's gonna save on, cause the county's so big, like we had snow on 27, but we didn't have snow up in 77 up in Clam Lake or something, so it's gonna eliminate some sending guys out where we don't need to, and we'll be able to check road conditions. We can take short videos, we can set it for motion clips, or we can do on-demand photos, a whole bunch of stuff we can do with that. And that's pretty much what's going on at the highway shop. Any questions?
I got a question.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we went on the tour, I asked you about alternatives to salt
Mhm.
and about, did you ever check into the cheese?
I haven't,
Brian.
'cause currently, we did just get our water truck converted to a brine truck. We built our own brine system on the back. I'm gonna be buying brine from Washburn, cause right now I don't have the space or the facility to get my own brine maker. So we got that all ready to go. We tested it out last week with some water, ran it through. State Howard was there, Legman saw it, said it looked good. So, we'll be doing some of that mostly on state and bridges this year, just to try to get a feel for it. Also there is a grant that came out and I got correspondence with LCO that wants to know if I'd like to proceed. And I would bring this to you before we do anything, but, so they're asking if we want to go halves on this grant and building a brine storage facility where we can make it on reservation land. So I just got the email today. I haven't looked into it or anything yet, but it'll be in discussion, so.
Is that Brian, that is cost effective, is that?
Well, I'd have to, yeah, we haven't never had it here, but talking to all the other counties, yeah, it's
Okay.
way cost effective.
And also, that Highway E, can you explain some on that, please?
Yeah, so Highway E, I've been in contact with most of the homeowners out there, I believe. We've met quite a few times out there. So the road, the alignment's not really gonna change too much. We don't know for sure yet, because we're in the process of the right of way acquisition and all this stuff, and we're about 60% design done. But it's gonna be 11-foot drive lanes with 3-foot shoulders is what proposed. It's designed at 40 miles an hour. Now, with that being said, guardrail was designed around Spring Lake. And there's what they call a clear zone behind the guardrail, which is 8 feet. So everything behind the guardrail, 8 feet, would have to be cleared to get that 5-to-1 slope to the water. So we've been going back and forth. I've been working with SEH on this. Found out that we can eliminate the guardrail, but there's still that clear zone. And then you're at a 4-to-1 slope with a 10-foot clear zone. So you still have to take that vegetation and stuff out.
So you're not saving anything?
As of right now, we can, there's
By getting
other.
rid of it?
There's other, like, we have a meeting Monday. We're gonna do ask for some exemptions to the standard, to see if we can close up that clear zone. Right now, we're down to minimum right now. We had a bigger clear zone. We cut it down to 10 feet. So we're gonna discuss that on Monday, on the 11th, and we'll see what happens there. But there is some trees that we can keep, but when we build that slope, it's gonna cover up the trees, so it might ultimately kill the tree on top of it. I know we've had discussions on what trees can handle that kind of build up. So there's a lot of things that's, like I said, we got quite a bit of time yet, but
Excuse me. Have you or are you going to look into the scenic route? The gentleman brought.
yeah, that was just something I heard today. I haven't got the chance to even look into that.
Okay.
Like I said, we just started hitting this after the last public PIM meeting.
Mhm.
We started looking into all these different concerns. And first of all, they said the guardrail couldn't be removed, but then we found out we can remove it. Now, it's something I would probably bring to the committee on safety and get your input too. But we can remove it, but you still got that clear zone down there too, so.
Yeah, I think that this sounds like something that should be discussed.
That's fine. I mean,
To go along.
yeah.
Another question. Excuse me, the federal monies, can that be like used for this area and then not like part of the road and then,
That's gonna be a question I'll have to ask on Monday.
it doesn't seem like.
I highly doubt it, but I will,
Yeah.
I'll talk to some other commissioners and that, cause this is kind of a unique project.
Mhm.
I'll find out more Monday. Like I said, the DNR is gonna have a lot of input. I mean, this could all have to be redesigned, after Monday or something else. If the DNR doesn't accept their proposal right now, so.
do we know what the traffic count is out there?
It was done in 21, I believe, was the last traffic count. Like I said, they're building the road right now for 40 miles an hour. So,
Well, we'll see what they come up with and see what we can
yep,
change.
Thank you.
yep.
Other questions?
Can I,
Yes.
well, as John's here, we pepper you with questions. Rumor is that the highway department borrowed a boat to do some work.
Yes, we did.
Is that bridge work or?
Oh, yeah. So we had to borrow the boat we had to shim some bridges for some townships. We got we got quite a few bridge issues in this county. So yeah, we borrowed the boat and we were, can't remember what bridge it was, but they were up shimming bridges.
Okay.
Oh, I thought something happened.
No, I know we've talked about you and I have talked about
Yeah.
bridges and the issues, and I'm not sure if the committee is up to speed on some of the bridge issues that John is finding out we have bridges not in the bridge program. They're gonna have to wait to get funding. That's gonna impact their usability, basically.
Yeah, and it impacts logging too. I mean, especially the Thornapple Grade Bridge, which will be closed after deer season. The town of Winter decided to close it. State was pushing pretty hard on it to close after deer season. So, and then we got another one in Winter that we got down to 1 lane. We got multiple bridges in townships right now that we have reduced weight limits. So there's a lot of bridge issues right now. And county bridges, we got a few, nothing major right now, but things that we need to fix.
Hmm.
And you did meet with TGB.
Yes, and I did meet with the TGB last Monday. Just kind of brought them up to speed what we've done within the reservation on the roads. talked about things moving forward, as far as funding opportunities, because there's quite a few funding opportunities for roads out there. And trying to work jointly together to try to come up with some of this funding, and they were pretty receptive. Offered to invite Ron Chamberlain from SEH up to have a meeting. We haven't have a date set yet to go through some of these different opportunities. One was the roundabout. And then couple other grants that are out there that would be very useful for county roads, so.
So when Andy said borrowed, it kind of concerned me because when some people say, well, you know, they rumors about borrowing, so they.
I think it came from
borrowed it.
zoning, didn't it?
Yeah, it's-
Yeah.
in the building, they mentioned that highway came and borrowed the zoning boat.
Okay, they didn't requisition or move it from, yeah. you know
No,
what I mean.
nothing like that. Last question, the survey? Is
The
that
survey? The road yes,
yeah, is that closed out and their full results? gonna
it's
be-
not closed out yet. It'll probably
Okay.
close out next month.
Next
I
month,
think we
okay.
have a date on it when it comes off. I can't remember for sure.
That concludes your report. I hear you. All right, so number 11, board appointments, committee updates. Andy, may I ask at this time, I know Public Works has had about towers. Can you tell us a little bit what towers we're looking at or where the towers are going to be, I guess is what I'm after.
Yeah, it's well, to be specific is a little tough. But if you're talking about the public safety network, I'm assuming, and the tower locations, the towers that we are most in need of to fulfill the public safety network are in the south and east portions of the county. We have towers here around Hayward that are on we have a handshake agreement with the city of Hayward to be on the Hayward Water Tower. We have a lease on a tower on property we own off of County B on Tower Hill, as they call it. We own the Pipestone Tower. That's kind of a repeater location. But then we don't have any of our own towers in the
Southern.
Meteor, Meadowbrook area. We do have a lease on a tower currently in the town of Meteor, but it is not adequate. That's the one you saw pictures of with the wires are just kind of hanging off the side of the tower. So we need something there. And then Meadowbrook is kind of down 27 south of Ojibwa and then over in the Loretta Winter area. So those are the three primary sites. Now that's all assuming that we have an agreement with WOJB to go on their tower, because that tower covers essentially is capable of covering pretty much from the northeast corner of the county down like through the reservation to the southwest portion of the county. It's a tall tower. It can cover that much. So we are giving this update to the Public Safety Committee. We still are continuing those conversations just to try to get a agreement in place with WOJB. It's slow going because they have things on their tower. We've identified the heights that we need. They're looking to see if it's available, and then we need to discuss what the terms are going to be. Hopefully we can come to a reasonable agreement there. And then in the Meteor area, years ago, I don't know how many years ago, the county used to be on the Xcel Energy Tower. And that's something happened. That's why we switched to another lease tower that's inferior. But there's a relationship with GenCom and Xcel, so we're asking them to strike up the conversation with Xcel to see if we can get back on that tower. If there's room, what are the terms, all those types of things. So those conversations are still happening, even though we've kind of not officially moved ahead with the public safety network. We're still trying to work on those tower sites. I did have a conversation with Bug Tussle just to say, to give them the update from the board meeting last month. Is there an opportunity to restart the conversation? Yes, of course there is. We can't get in on the bond issue that they've pushed ahead with some of the other counties. They anticipate another bond issue next year that we could be a part of with the full network now. Kind of where we left the conversation is we're going to reconvene probably beginning of December because they're focused on those projects. But what I asked them about is the full Bug Tussle proposal was 7 towers throughout the county that they would run a fiber network or fiber connections to. They would use those towers to lease to cell phone companies and sell fixed wireless off of, or with their broad fiber network, they could do direct broadband connections, direct fiber to homes that they go past as well. So of those 7 towers, we were really interested in the 3 that we need on the south and east. And there's a couple of those tower sites that they already have permits for, or actually 1 tower, I believe, is constructed. So hypothetically, I asked them, so how quickly could we come to an agreement to get us on towers that exist already? And then, essentially phase in the rest of that proposal over the next couple of years. So they didn't have an answer for that, but that's something when we talk again in December, they said they would have a better answer for. The other thing I should mention to this committee, and this is all new in the last month. I'm not sure if this committee dealt with it in the past, but we also have, separate from all what I just told you, we've had tower leases for towers on county property, 1 down in the town of Radisson and 1 on the land we own off of Tower Hill. That company has come in and asked for an extension of their lease. I think those were 20-year leases. Don't quote me, but they were long-term leases, but they like to keep them renewed. So they at least have, I think, 10 years left on the lease at all times. So they're talking about an extension. So they're going to send a proposal for that. And then another company has inquired about any interest the county has in selling out or selling the interest we have in those leases. So we have an agreement with those companies that have the towers. They're leasing them to their customers. Now the new company comes in and says, the lease you have with that tower, we will give you X amount of dollars up front, and then they take over the lease agreements with those companies. So those are just calls that have happened last month. I'm pulling together that information for the committee to consider at some point in the future here.
I believe we did them towers about same time we started dealing with airport, so about probably 6 years ago.
Yep.
Am I wrong, but were they gonna tear down the water tower?
The city is talking about tearing down the water tower, and the company they're working with or have talked to has offered to incur the cost of tearing down the water tower and putting up a new, actual tower in that location. Because they have, we're on there kind of I think a good neighbor agreement with our public safety, but that is actually a cell phone tower. So we talked to the company, the rep for that company when the city had that conversation and talked about other, would you be interested in putting it up higher on up here by the courthouse somewhere on our property because it's a higher location. They want to keep a tower there because all of the licensing, all the licenses for their equipment is based on that specific spot. But yeah, the water tower, I believe, has lead paint, and structurally it's an older structure. So there's a concern the city doesn't want to incur the cost of tearing it down, I believe. So this company is willing to come in and do that if they can put a tower in its spot. Because then they can sell space on that tower to other companies.
One more of a comment than anything that I was thinking on the way in here that why don't we get updates on this project? Public Works is kind of a construction
Well,
type thing.
we're in charge of the land, and that's towers are on land.
Right, so I was just thinking that as I pulled up, I was like, geez, why doesn't this committee get updates on it?
Well, the reason I asked is there's someone from the south that approached me and said they're willing to work with some land that they have for a tower if we so chose.
Yeah, and I guess we haven't got into the details on tower locations. I mean, we know approximate locations, but when we've talked to GenCom, especially like over on the east side, we tried to get them to look at sites that the county already owns. We have county forest land actually in all, kind of spread out throughout the county. And so that was the goal. But, part of it then is putting a tower in the county land in this spot, is that gonna give us the coverage we need?
Other questions? Yes.
I just wanted to comment on that E-project one more time. I did receive an email from zoning and we're looking into it. So Jay had reached out to me and he's stating that any trees larger than 6 inches in diameter are proposed to be removed, within 35 feet from the lake, require additional zoning approval and even, perhaps the extent of a variance approval to allow for removal. So he told me to forward this on to the consultant. We forwarded it on, they're checking into it and we're gonna be talking with WisDOT about that too, so.
Okay.
Is that the road issue?
So that's all I got.
All right, future agenda items, I'm sure we'll have a lot, but come December, maybe things are slowing down a little bit as is tonight. Correspondence reports, anybody have anything either than that? Meeting adjourned. Thank you for your valuable time. Every meeting is important.
And when